What's going on, working class hustlers? Thank you all for continuing to rock out with me. Make sure you tap into your resources down in the description. Remember, guys, I'm always available. So if you need to get at me, text the words working class hustler to the number on your screen. Cost you absolutely nothing. Make sure you check out the free Snackfood Symposium. That is a webinar that I did with myself, the lovely Miss Karen, and my producer Jim to show you exactly how I'm getting to the bag. Guys, I'm clawing, I'm scratching and scraping to get to that elusive 40,000 a month mark. I ain't quite there yet. And actually, you know what? If I move, let me see something here, then you might be able to see it. You might not. I'm at 38,200, so I got a ways to go. I don't know when I'm going to get there, but the way things tend to happen, because you could end up growing too fast. I think I'm growing just at the right pace. What's going on, Wesley? Thanks for showing up, man. Of course, my man Michael is out here, true working class hustler. And before we get started, make sure you sign up for the free tactical arbitrage course. That will continue to be built out. I'd like to get it done a lot quicker than the pace that I've been working at, but it's just been crazy, man. Like today, oh my God. Today was one of my off days from my regular job. A lot of you guys know I drive a fuel tanker truck locally. That's my regular 9 to 5. But today I had the day off. My off days is when I will go about 45 minutes from where I live to get to the warehouses and, you know, pick up stuff. I had to make 2 trips and I was like, oh my God, I gotta get a bigger van. This is ridiculous. Make sure you guys hit the like button for the algorithm, please. And I'm not going to be out here too long. I'm going to be out here for about a half an hour. You know, I'm going to take questions if you have them. So, guys, if you got any, make sure you hit me with them. But I want to talk about something that was in the news today. Let me sort of share my screen here. So, according to what I'm looking at here, this was published today, April 29th. In the year 2025. The title is UPS cutting 20,000 jobs due to fewer Amazon shipments. Now, obviously, on this channel, we talk about shipping. You know, we talk about running our Amazon businesses. So when you read a headline that says UPS is cutting 20,000 jobs due to fewer Amazon shipments, that is significant, guys. If you have been following me for any length of time, you know that I got laid off from my job back in 2023 when I was working 21 years as a truck driver for a company called Yellow Freight, over 100 years old. And they went out of business, 30,000 people out of work. So when you say UPS is cutting 20,000 jobs, that's a lot. That is significant. And so we're going to go over the article, but, you know, I want to put it in the lens of what I'm encouraging you to do as an Amazon seller or even a Walmart seller, possibly even an eBay seller, maybe even your own website. And, you know, I want to get into that. A lot of times we get into the how-tos and stuff like that, but sometimes we got to get into principles. So let's just get to it. let's see. So UPS or United Parcel Service said Tuesday that it will cut about 20,000 jobs and shutter 73 of its facilities as the logistics giant. Hold on. As the hold on, that thing to shut up. As the logistics giant cuts costs amid a move to reduce shipping volumes from its largest consumer, Amazon, and broader economic uncertainty. Now, stop and think for a second, because what I was saying to myself is, okay, why would UPS want to reduce shipping volumes from its largest customer? If you're in the business of shipping, why would you want to reduce volume from your largest customer? But some of that we may understand better as we continue with the article. So the move, which amounts to a cut of about 4% of the company's workforce, makes UPS the first big American company to move forward with large-scale layoffs in the face of slowing trade due to the Trump administration's tariffs. Now, remember, guys, this report is coming from Fox, so it's not like we're hearing this from CNN. Hey, what's going on, Miss Karen? By the way, actually, Karen is the one that brought this article to me, so big ups to her. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. Although I kind of saw it coming, but I saw it coming before Trump even got into office, just because I thought, okay, Amazon is putting more and more of its own fleet out here. And if you guys remember, see, I go back to Amazon. I was selling on Amazon in 2008. And when you got ready to create a shipment back then, you had the option to use your own shipping. You had the option to use Amazon's partnership with UPS. And you also had the option to use Amazon's partnership with FedEx. But then Amazon ended their relationship with FedEx. And I thought, okay, I already see the play. The next one to go is going to be Brown. And I think that was the play, but because if you guys remember, about 4 or 5 years ago, Amazon was aggressively trying to bring out its own fleet. And I think they learned it don't work as well as they thought it would. I don't think they could get enough drivers, really, but whatever the case, on with the story. The move, which amounts to a cut of about 4%. Oh, yeah, we got that part. The slowing trade due to Trump administration's left. A slowdown in global trade is likely to reduce the need for shipping services between companies, potentially hurting parcel delivery firms. The world has not been faced with such enormous potential impacts to trade in more than 100 years, CEO Carol Tomé said during the company's earnings call. It also comes after UPS announces in January that it reached an agreement with its largest customer, Amazon, to cut its volume by 50% by the second half of 2026. Why? Why would you want to cut your volume? This makes no sense. Now, one more thing. Last year, UPS said it would cut its workforce by 12,000 jobs and added that it expects expenses of between 400 million and 600 million related to separation benefits and lease-related cuts in 2025. So basically, last year they said they were looking to cut their workforce by 12,000 jobs, but as we saw in the title, 20,000 jobs are getting cut. Now, here we are as sellers. I don't think it's a situation, I don't know yet, but I don't think this is a situation where, UPS is going to be shipping less of our packages. Now, like I said earlier in this piece, I came from freight. I worked for Yellow Freight for 21 years. I worked 3 years in freight at Consolidated Freightways. Before that, I was always in and out of UPS fulfillment centers. I actually have videos on this channel where I'm literally physically at these fulfillment centers talking to you. So I know how this goes. You would go to an Amazon fulfillment center, and there will be a separate entrance for the UPS trucks. They had their own separate buildings. The whole infrastructure was set around them working closely with Amazon. So what I'm thinking might happen is things like that you won't see anymore. There's no way they're just going to stop shipping our packages for those of us who do merchant fulfill. And I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I could not imagine us losing our deep discounts. Although, it wouldn't be a bad idea for you to have your own account with UPS. I do. And, as a matter of fact, I was on a call with my rep from UPS, and he was going, hey, why don't you ship as much with us? You used to ship this, you used to ship that. And I said, hey, I've been going directly through. He knows that I sell on Amazon. I said, I'm going right into Seller Central and creating my shipping right there. And I said, you're not going to beat that. And he sort of hemmed and hawed. And then he said, well, we might have some incentives that could do this and we can do that. It depends on the time and this, that, and the third. I told him, look, right now, I'm not even ready for that. Because, and I told him the truth. I kind of like it right now, having my shipping costs come out automatically so that when I get my settlement from Amazon, it already has that out. I'll give you an example here while I take a couple of questions. So Monkey Smoke says, are they going to hire more temp workers? That is a very good question because UPS is famous for that. Oh, Kim from Chicago. Hey, good to hear from you. Tell you what. Yeah, that's a good question, Monkey Smoke. I don't know. And I'm just going to say this because I want to get into this. I don't want to get too deep into it just yet, but you guys know I'm going to tie this 20,000 employee layoff. I'm going to tie this into what we do on Amazon because clearly this is another reason or a major reason that you should either be selling on Amazon or whatever you're going to do to have an additional income stream because you just never know. Guys, I worked with Yellow Freight, so I worked with people. I was in the same union as UPS. They belong to the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, and then from there, it just depends on what local you are in. Guys, I'm happy for anyone who can get a job with UPS. When my company went out of business, a lot of my coworkers went over to UPS and they tried to convince me to come to UPS. Personally, I was just done with the union. If I could find something that was more suitable, and I did. But here's what I would say. And I'm not hating on anybody. If you can get to the bag with a good trucking company, I think that's great. But when you got a trucking company that's paying its drivers $50 an hour, and then paying 100% of their pension, that means they don't need to participate in a 401k because the company is fully funding the pension. I know because I was there. I was in the same union. The company is paying 100%. There are no premiums that you pay for health insurance. That is paid by the company. Now you got your co-pays and stuff like that, but It was literally, and it is literally the best health insurance you will ever have. But when you have a company where the average person is making 115 to 120,000, plus you're paying 100% of their pension, you're paying all of the contributions to his health plan. Don't be surprised. It's great if you get that job, but don't be surprised if layoffs come about. You know, altogether, you're paying a guy $130,000, $140,000 per person. And when stuff happens, it's going to be very easy for the company to make a decision to lay off. See, you can get that great job and you can be in the union and all of that. And you can also be laid off. I know, because for the better part of 25 years, I dealt with layoffs. So I know about that. But a lot of that time, I had my own business. I'll never forget the time. Actually, I can tell you what year it was. It was 08. Remember the crash of 08? Obama had just got elected. He had just beat McCain. Remember, they literally had to suspend the run for the election so that they could go to Congress and try to deal with this economic meltdown that we were dealing with. And I got called in the office and I got the notification, we got to lay you off. It was a temporary layoff, but I got laid off. And my wife at the time was like, oh my God, you got laid off again. What are we going to do? I'll never forget. I walked around the corner to the local ATM and printed out a hard copy balance of what I had in my account. I walked home, I handed it to my wife, and I said, well, this is what we're sitting on right now. She looked at it, and I could see the relief wash over her. This was 2008. So think about that. Think about where you were, what you were doing in 2008. And think about what $14,000 in cash in your bank account would have felt like in 2008. That's what it was like for me, because I was selling on Amazon, because I had my own website. So when I encourage you to do these things, it's not just because that's the cool thing to do or whatever. I'm not just parroting what other, influencers are saying. I've been through this, guys. You're looking at a 55-and-a-half-year-old man. I've been through some things. So when I encourage you, when I implore you to get serious with this business, this is where I'm coming from. But remember, I'm not the one saying quit your job. I'm saying keep the job, because there's been times where the job helped me when the business had a downturn. See, you got to remember, guys, we're doing this business, and a lot of times what we do is we get all into the how-to. How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you use this software? How do you use that software? What should I be buying? What should I be selling? But we're not looking at the principles. We're not looking at the entire system, the entire, thing about being in business. We're not stepping away and looking at it from afar. It's very important that you do that. Okay. So let me just make sure I covered everything that I wanted to cover about this story. Yeah, I think I pretty much did. Let me see here. UPS also faces a sharp downturn in volume from China-linked bargain e-commerce sellers Temu and Shein after the U.S. moved to collect tariffs on goods that were previously duty-free under a threshold of $800 per individual sale. That was under what's called the de minimis rule. To help keep its customers updated about tariffs and trade policy changes, UPS launched a website that tracks various developments in negotiations as well as offers the ability to connect with experts and explore options to manage tariff costs and cost. And again, this is a report from Fox News. But let me get back to, well, I'll tell you what, I was talking about, hold on a second. I was talking about how I like, at this point, I like just having my settlements come to me at a point where I have already paid my shipping, because let me give you a reason why. So my last settlement, let's just look at it for a second. You guys know I'm always transparent. I'm always going to show you my numbers. And the reason I do that is because I always want you to have a realistic expectation of what's going on, what you can expect to make in this business and what it's really like. Let me just look at something here because I got my screen all messed up. There. So here's what you gotta understand. When you look at, this was my last payout, but when you come over to shipping charges, see, I would have got a much bigger payout. I would have had like close to 16,000 payout, but it would not have included the shipping charges. I don't even want to have to go through that right now. But also remember, I'm telling you, I'm leaving money on the table. By not running these shipping charges through my credit card, I'm literally leaving money on the table. I could be getting cash back points on that. And that's another reason to have a business, because not only are you conducting business and just letting the business run like a machine, if you can use a card with cash back, you could be churning out points and they add up quick. Wesley says, these tariffs are no joke. I work in procurement in my 9-to-5, and I'm looking at 175% tariffs by the end of May on machined parts coming out of China. Wow, that's crazy. Whew. So here's what I would say to that. I appreciate and I thank you so much for bringing that, for sharing that with us. I love the participation and we need it. And you started out by saying these tariffs are no joke. And I'm going to add a little bit to that sentence. I'm going to say, if I may be so bold, these tariffs are no joke and we're going to get through them. These tariffs are no joke, and that is all the more reason that you need to continue to rock with me. You need to continue to study what I'm doing. You need to continue to tap in. When I say that you can call me, I mean that. When I say, we're going to get to the bag, we're going to do some sourcing. We're not going to do that tonight, but these are the types of things that we do together, right? You guys know that. When I promise you that I'm going to be out here every single day that I can, and I show that, here's what you got to do. You got to make sure, number one, you got your Amazon account active. You're getting the sales and you're doing the things that are going to grow your business. I don't like using the word scale because it's become such a cliche. And I hate it when influencers try to make you feel as though you're not successful unless you're scaling. Scaling. Maybe you don't want to scale. Maybe you're happy with an extra $5,000 a month in your pocket in addition to your job. Maybe that would be life-changing for you. Why you got to scale so that you got all these other problems? We don't talk about it enough on this channel, but once you figured out what your number is, in other words, what is the number? What is the amount of money that you need to live at your current lifestyle? If you can get to that, then you're good. If you want more, I applaud you. That is wonderful. But Wesley, I hope you don't mind me adding to that. I hope you agree. We're going to get through the tariffs. We've been through a lot of stuff, guys. If some of you might be as old as me, hell, I can remember when we were turning on the television and all they were showing was literal graphs, literal charts of the amount of deaths that were happening in this country as a result of COVID. Did you ever take a moment to think, are we going to get through this? I know I did when we got through it. There's nothing that we can't do. And yes, Monkey Smoke, the grind don't stop. The grind does not stop. There are three words that represent who I am, the essence of who I am as it pertains to my business and some other things, but we looking at it through the lens of business. Three words sum up the very essence of my being. Those three words are, I embrace work. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. I embrace work. From the bread of laziness, I do not eat. And because of that, there's nothing that can stop me. While everybody else worried about trying to get into AI, trying to get into crypto, trying to get into all these things, believing that they can get to the bag easily without any work, I'm going in the opposite direction. There's been a lot of experts, and you have heard some experts that you trust. You have heard them say things like, hey, wherever the herd is going, you need to go in the opposite direction. Take that to heart. Think about what you will hear me say from time to time. Amazon used to be the place. That's where everybody was coming. And now there's been a shift and the herd is moving other places, whether it's trying to get into AI, whether it's moving to Walmart, wherever it is. Guys, I can tell you, and I've been saying this for a while, the herd has moved and they have left a lot of opportunity right here on Amazon. Amazon is getting tougher. They like doing that. They like shaking it up. I think one of the reasons they do it is maybe, just maybe, they want to shake off some people who just don't have it in them. As soon as the going gets tough, maybe they want to get rid of those people. I don't know. That may be a little far-fetched, but I will tell you this. There are a lot of people that want things to be easy, and the minute it gets difficult, they're gone. You need to be different. You need to keep doing what you need to do. Thank you, Wesley, to get to the bag. I hope you don't mind me preaching, because that's just in my nature. But the purpose of this video was really to inspire you, to encourage you. And a lot of people are just lazy. Monkey Smoke says they want to smoke out all the sellers not committed to long term. That could be. That could be. Yes, the number of sellers on listings have dropped. See, this is what I'm talking about. And I love it. See, because what happens is this. I was listening to an interview today on Christopher Grant's show. He was interviewing this guy. Maybe you guys saw it. I think the guy's last name was Huber, but no, this guy's a beast, and well, I was looking for his name on there. I don't know. I can't find it. But he was talking about exactly what I mean. There was a time where Amazon was everybody was trying to do it, and what he was saying was you don't want to compete amongst the herd, because what happens is the herd they're like a plague, man. They come to a platform, they destroy it, they strip it of everything good, its resources. They they're price tanking, they're ruining the entire experience for other sellers. They don't know what they're doing. Let them go. Let them go, man. They like I said, now they all want to try to do AI. Good luck with that. See, everybody think that you got to be the next Zuckerberg, that you got to be the next Elon Musk, right? That you got to invent something. The people that are really getting to the bag, they ain't reinventing nothing. That's why I sell cheese doodles. Monkey Smoke says the waves of Section 3 really dropped a bunch of sellers off and they haven't come back. Exactly. Exactly. If you would come back, I remember one time I was working for a company called Consolidated Freightways, old freight company, and they went out of business. It was a union shop. And about 200 of us went across the street to an old company called Roadway Express. And we all stood in a line that literally extended across the street to get this job. Only Roadway hired management first. And they asked management, well, help us kind of sift through these applications. This was still back in the days of paper applications, because this was 2003. And actually, no, I'm lying. That was 99. No, it was 2003. And they hired management from CF first, and they let them go through applications to weed out the problems. You know what I mean? Because if you're in the union, it almost takes an act of God to fire you. So they really didn't want to be stuck with any bad eggs. Well, I got hired, and my best friend at that time didn't get hired, and he was 10 years older than me. So I was about 33. He was like 43. And he was saying, man, they didn't hire me. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I said, go back, fill out an application again. He goes, what do you mean? I said, go back and reapply. He's like, I already applied. They denied me. I said, do it again. What's the worst that could happen? They deny you again? He called me back. It was a number of days later. He goes, man, I'm glad I listened to you. The second time they hired me. And I told him, I said, because I specifically remember there was a section on the application that says, have you ever been denied employment by us before? I said, when you get to that, you say no. If they're going to deny you, it's going to be because they did the research. You're not going to volunteer it. And he got hired. And how does that tie into what we're talking about? Like Monkey Smoke says, they haven't come back. But if they would come back, you know what I mean? People just don't have the resilience. That showed me that you need to only be using cards that have a paper trail, no cash transactions for purchases, and only from legit suppliers. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, remember, guys, I don't know how much you guys are doing, you might be beyond where I'm at. And then I need to be having you participate more so that you could teach us, including me. But where I'm at, I'm well past the 35,000 a month. I'm approaching 40,000 a month, and it will not be long at this pace that I'll be hitting the 50,000 a month uh, range. And what has really helped me was using arbitrage to lead me to wholesale. I'm going to say that again. Using arbitrage because I love arbitrage and I probably will always do it. It's so easy. But the volume that you need if you want bigger numbers, you've got to sell more. Or you got to start selling products with a higher ticket price. But do you really want that? Because you know how returns are, you know how scammers are, and people who are trying to finesse. That's another reason why I stay in food, because Amazon really doesn't let people finesse you with food. Walmart does. And I do sell on Walmart, but not that much. I'm not trying to scare people away because of scammers, because of very lenient return policies. I'm saying embrace all of that. Embrace it and learn to thrive in it. You're not going to win every time. Success is not about winning every time. Success is about winning more than you lose, but you're going to miss sometimes. That's okay. But yeah, if you're not doing any wholesale at all and you want to study me, if you want to study me and start getting numbers similar to what I get, how I did it was I do arbitrage and I still do. But when I get a winner in arbitrage, the next thing I'm thinking about is how can I get more of these? How can I get more than what's on the shelves? Okay. Last week, I went to Family Dollar and picked up 4 cases. They can't fit 4 cases on the shelves. The next step would be okay, I want a little bit better price. And a little bit better price means a lot when your volume is up. A little bit better price means a lot when you have a relationship with a wholesaler. I went and picked up at my Utz, at the Utz warehouse, and while I was there, he said, "Hey, I got 4 cases of these. We're just gonna throw them away. They got good expiration dates. You can have them." The only reason I have that is because of my relationship. So you have to think volume. If you're gonna model after me, now some of you guys, you might already be getting to the bag. You got to let me know. You got to let us know. Karen says the guy on Chris Grant's podcast was Nick Huber. Absolutely. Just you guys get a chance to watch that. Oh, it is a wealth of information. In fact, he was supposed to be on there because he's doing his book tour, and he allowed Christopher Grant and the other Chris to pepper him with all kind of questions that took him way off that book. Well, they wanted a lot of anecdotes and a lot of, I guess, chapters in the book that they wanted to deep dive into. But I'm going to buy the book because it's just great. So check that out. Monkey Smoke said Walmart is full of people that finesse. I had people return random things. I'm not laughing at you, Monkey Smoke. I'm laughing with you because it happens to me too, man. And I'm telling you, I've said this, especially in my private group. I've said the Walmart buyer, they are very much like the Walmart shopper. Okay. Think about Facebook memes that you've seen over the years. People sneaking pictures of Walmart shoppers, the way they look, the way they carry themselves, just this thing about them. It carries into the online space as well. So that's just my take on it. But yeah, guys, we're gonna wrap because oh my god, let me show you what the work I got ahead of me. As soon as we get off, I'm gonna crack open a cold Modelo. I'm in the mood for a Dos Equis, but I don't have any. I have a Modelo, and I am going to wait. Let me just go to my home page. I got work to do, guys. Check me out. I got 64 orders I got to get together. Now, I embrace the work. If you don't, then do FBA. That's fine. But the lovely Miss Karen will tell you. You think that's cute. You think you gonna do FBA? Oh, it's gonna be less. It's gonna be less work because you don't have to do the individual. Karen, you better tell these people there's no escaping the work. Tell them there's no escaping the work. Hey, Timmy, didn't see that live going. Oh, I'm gonna shoot you. Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. Tim and Mike for the private group. We're gonna get together tomorrow. I haven't figured out the time yet, but you guys know I got an event. I got to go to my son's graduation, and I can't wait. We share the same name, so this is going to be the only time I probably ever hear my name called during a college graduation ceremony. But I'm going to pretend it's me. I'm going to live vicariously through him. Let's see. Tim says, I hear you would agree 100%. My Walmart returns have been eye-watering. I'm sorry. It's part of the business, guys. It's part of the business. Keep up the good work, guys. Before I wrap, I have to leave you with some encouraging words. If you would embrace the work, oh my God, let me show you something real quick. And it is not to impress you, it is to impress upon you what is actually possible. See, I don't know if y'all really be hearing me. I don't know if y'all hear me, but are you listening? Right here on this channel, you can go back to the year 2017. That is what's called receipts. Okay. I was a younger man back then. Why? Why did it take me almost 8 years to double my revenue? I should have been did that. So what I'm trying to say is this. Let me just go to my reports. Let me see. I'm going to say, well, first we're going to look at month to date, okay? Month to date. Now, when you look at your graph, you've got this month, you've got last month, and then you've got the same time last year. 36,780. Most likely we're going to hit 38,000 for the month. Last month, 34,000. That's an increase. But look at, you guys, if you follow me, you already know what I was doing last year because I was showing my numbers last year the way I show them this year. That's what you call receipts. Why? Why is all of a sudden I'm doing more than double? Why? There are 3 words. I said it before. I said it again for the people in the back. And now I'm going to say it again, which is akin to shouting it from a mountain. I embrace work. This didn't just happen. I'm telling you, if you haven't doubled your revenue from last year, this time last year, then you didn't double the work. Do you want it or not, guys? This is a real question. It's not going to just happen. You got to do the work. What do I mean? What is the work? You got to be adding new products all the time. That means you got to be sourcing all the time. That means you don't get any breaks all the time. Some of the closest people to you, to me, I should say, some of the closest people to me will tell you, I work. What do I mean when I say I work? I'm not on this American, oh, I worked 40 hours a week, so I work. That's not good enough. I worked at my job. Then I came home and worked so that I could go to bed and get up and work before I go back to work. And if you don't like it, then don't sit up there and say you really want to get to the bag. There's no way around it. Oh, you want to work smarter, not harder. You want to work on the business so you don't have to work in the business. You gotta do it. There's no way around it. And if you want it to someday get easy, you gotta work your way and earn your way to the easiness. So get to work. I'm not gonna be nice about this. I'm not gonna be easy on you. I'm not gonna coddle you. I've been doing this. I've been coddling you for the last almost 8 years. Nope. Now I'm going to let you have it. Who's ready? Who's ready? Tell me in the comments now. Who's ready to do the work? Tim says, living up to your nickname, La Machine. Exactly. I don't even know why. I don't even know why I do this. Why do I bother you guys with this? Why do I take it upon myself to assume that you want the numbers? I don't know. Are you really trying to win or just look good losing? Is this a glee club? Is this some something you just, or are you really trying to get to the bag? Because I'm telling you guys, for those of you who really rock with me, you about to see a seismic shift. This game, see, because making money, it's a game. The question is, are you playing checkers or chess? I've been playing checkers. See, and I got the receipts. I ain't got to lie. I can't lie because I was so honest from the beginning. You got the receipts. I'm not going to go out and delete the videos that are out there. So ain't no sense in me lying. I was playing checkers. And you want to know a secret? I've doubled my revenue and I'm still playing checkers. I ain't got the chess yet. That's my hustlers right there. Wesley said, let's get this work. Tim said, yeah, I'm in. Karen said, I hear tambourines. We in church today. We in church. And Michael says, let's get it. All right, enough said, guys. I'll see you guys out here tomorrow. Mike, Timmy, look to hear from me tomorrow because we're going to get together in the private group. But I do plan on going live as well. So love you all. Thank you for rocking out with me. For those who have not, make sure you tap into all of the resources that are in the show notes or the description down there. All right. Love you guys. La Machine. I'm out.